Everybody, welcome. Scorpio Caesar here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about recent game pickups, as always, like we do in this channel. However, today we're focusing primarily on the PlayStation 1. You see, my PlayStation 1 collection is kind of abysmal. There's a lot of great things in there, especially ones from my childhood. However, there's a lot of heavy hitters that I'm missing, and today I want to talk about those that I've missed out in the past, and I want to rectify that in today's pickups video. So we're going to do just that, celebrate the 30th anniversary of the PlayStation 1 in North America. With that out of the way, welcome to the CesArcade.
Get ready.
Alright, so just recently the PlayStation 1 had officially turned 30 years old in the US of A. And unfortunately, I jumped the gun. I made a video talking about the 30th anniversary for this thing, but it was the 30th anniversary from Japan. Remember, this thing came out a year before in Japan. So, I mean, I made a video about it talking about, me getting the PlayStation 1, my childhood memories, and all the games I remember playing when I was growing up with this thing, and I love that video. It was a video that didn't do too well, so if you haven't checked it out yet, it pops up in the top right hand corner of your screen, and it'll also be in the end card down below. I love the PlayStation 1. It's still to this day probably my favorite PlayStation console of all time. This thing was a banger. I mean, this and the N64 side by side, we were growing up good in the 90s. Let's just leave it at that. I love this thing to death. I have a lot of great titles on it. However, there were so many games that came out for the PS1 that I unfortunately missed out on. And I know I can't be alone in that. Most of us who grew up when we were kids in the 90s, we couldn't afford every game. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't have that adult money. So we had to rely on our parents, we had to rely on our relatives for like birthdays and Christmas, and only a select few titles would come into our collection back in the days. So I do have a decent collection, however, it's not the best. So I wanted to rectify that this past few months. It's not a phase that I'm going through, I swear to God. Even though I go through collecting phases, listen, I love the PlayStation 1, and it's about time that I picked up some of these titles that I missed out on. So let's get into it, starting with the Grand Stream Saga. Now, this is an RPG. I believe it's made from Japan. However, it's published by THQ. Don't know too much about it, but it sports exquisite animation sequences, pulse-pounding real-time battles against over 60 different enemies. The continents of the Grand Stream are sinking. Like, I'm just going by the back of the case, alright? But apparently this game was debuted at #1 in Japan. I don't know if that claim is true. I've yet to check it out, but you'll be seeing some gameplay of it in the background right now. And I don't know, it looked intriguing to me, and Mikey's Bodega was kind enough to accept my offer on it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this one out after I get through some of these other ones. Trust me, I got a lot to get into today. Next up, we have a classic. I mean, I've never played the original Hot Shots Golf up until now. I now have the original one. Now, this is one of my favorite golf game series of all time. Even though there's a new one that just came out for like multiple consoles, it even came out on Switch. First time the series went multi-platform. I'm not too sure about that one. From what I've seen, it looks pretty vanilla and bare bones. I think the series personally peaked on the Vita and on the PS3 with Out of Bounds. Those are my two favorite ones. The PSP ones are really good, the Open T 1 and 2. I'm just saying. But the original Hot Shots Golf, you really get it. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like the Mario Golf games on the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. So, I mean, I know it's made pretty much by the same developer, if memory serves me correct. And it's primitive by today's standards, but it's nice to have the original. Next up, we have one that I said took a chance on. I love Star Wars, and this was one of those spin-off games that not many people talk about anymore. This is Star Wars Demolition. Now, this is a Twisted Metal clone, but with Star Wars vehicles. Yeah, it's clunky, it's very rudimentary, and the controls are a bit weird, but then again, Twisted Metal didn't exactly have the most intuitive controls to begin with. So the fact that you could play as an ATST walker or a land speeder with guns, a pod racer like a snow speeder, it's interesting. Let's just leave it at that. Star Wars fans, man, we ate well when it came to the 5th and 6th generation. So this is one that I saw for cheap in a claim sale, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to pick it up and try it out. Everybody, quick intermission here. I just want to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to check out today's video. If you like what I do here at the CesArcade, hit the like button. It really helps out the channel a great deal. And also subscribe if you would like to see more content like this. And if any of the games that I've talked about in today's video reach out to you and you have any fond memories with them, let me know in the comments section down below. I love hearing your stories, and I'm always open to discussion about these games. So with that out of the way, let's get back to today's video. This is Metal Gear Solid, the VR missions. This is exactly that. You're in a VR world, and it's like mission-based levels. You can get through a lot of them pretty fast if you're good at the stealth. But they start off easy and they get progressively harder as you continue through the game. And it's just a fun time going back to the original Metal Gear Solid's engine and just trying to get through some of these. It's really fun. I always love the cover of the manual here with Gray Fox on it. It's just a nice looking game. Next up, we got The Wheelman is Back, Driver 2. Now, Driver 1, I talked about before in my 30th anniversary video for the PS1. I played through it. I had a hard time getting through the tutorial, but when my brother-in-law showed off the game, we were playing through the streets and everything, and it was a lot of fun getting chased by the cops. Wouldn't want to do that in real life, but it was still a fun time. One of the first few games where I was actually driving in an open world, and Driver 2 seems to expand on that. Now, I only remember playing some of the demo for this one, and I wanted to pick it up for the longest time. However, every time somebody would list it, it would be missing the damn manual. And I'm like, why is it so hard for this game to have its manual? Every retro game shop I went to, they would have the Platinum Hits Edition. I didn't like the green label, so I waited, found it in the claim sale from Retro Gaming Zone, and now I have Driver 2 complete. And it's in mint condition too. Any of you played this back in the days? The interactive sampler CD for the PlayStation 1 Volume 3. Now, in each title, you could flip it around and find a code. And there was a code that would show off a video for a certain racing game. This game completely escaped me. I remember seeing the video in the demo back in the days, and I was like, this looks pretty fun. I wonder what game this is. And at some point at 25 years, I completely forgot about it. But saw a video recently, saw this game, and I was like, whoa, this looks familiar, and I finally picked it up. Motor Tune Grand Prix. This was developed by the daddy of Gran Turismo. This was an earlier game before he actually made those games and went on to, you know, make so much money from those games. But Motor Tune Grand Prix always caught my eye because of its colorful, cartoony aesthetic, and I played a bit of it. I was like, wow, this game is so easy, and I was playing on easy mode. But one thing I do love about the graphics in this game is how the cars kind of squish and stretch as you steer across the courses. It's very reminiscent of like that Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of cartoony style, and I think they absolutely nailed it in this game. And it's an underrated game that not a lot of people talk about. Now, this game, what the hell is going on here? What the hell? Evil Zone. I saw a hot anime chick on the cover, and of course I bit, okay? Forgive me, I'm a bit shallow when it comes to anime girls from that era. However, this is not an RPG, this is a fighting game. A very over-the-top, anime-inspired fighting game. And I mean like, ridiculously anime. Like, it's got cutscenes in between each round, and the voice acting, the fighting's pretty simplistic, but over the top as well. A game that wasn't really on my radar, but again, this is where the cover art and the manuals just kind of sold me on it. And I'm glad I picked it up because it is very interesting. Let's just leave it at that. The graphics, the disc alone on this, and like just the artwork, absolutely gorgeous, like beautiful. I love the disc on this one.
Arrow faces a pervert. 5 seconds till Arrow fights.
What happened to my introduction? Everyone else got a chance to say something.
Just ignore this loudmouth.
I can't believe I only played the demo for this game back in the days, and PlayStation Underground demo discs, I never got around to playing the series. The closest thing I got to it was Snake vs. Monkey on Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. So I finally picked up Ape Escape on the PlayStation 1. Now this is a PlayStation 1 classic. You know me, I love my 3D platformers. This one was one that escaped me for the longest time, and I was like, I have to correct that, and now I finally have Ape Escape on the PlayStation 1. The graphical style is just beautiful. I love how everything is so chunky, and like the way the monkeys animate, everything's so charming, the voice acting. What a beautiful game. More people should have played this one. I don't know what's going on with the series right now. I wish it would come back, and I'm really excited to finally get into Ape Escape. And I got a few others to pick up in the PS2 for in the future, but
it works. It actually works.
And here I have Breath of Fire 3. I have to say, just playing a little bit of this game, I got through the first boss. What a gorgeous game. Just the opening alone when you're in that icicle and they thaw you out and you're just a dragon running around burning people to the ground. What a masterful opening for a JRPG series. Like, come on. It's so charming. I love the sprites. I love the characters in the game. They look adorable. And I can't wait to play more of this. I'm in love with this game so far. Next up, this one's funny because they just announced that it's being reimagined at the Nintendo Direct. So, Dragon Quest VII. Got this from Manny's Cool Finds, and I was like, you know what? I never owned the original version on the PlayStation 1. You see, I have the 3DS remake that they did. The fact that they're remaking a remake of a Dragon Quest classic is very intriguing. Now, the 3DS version was great. I got around to playing like maybe an hour of it, and then I got around to playing maybe an hour of this. And I know I just scratched the surface and barely played anything with this title because I know this is one of the longest Dragon Quest games ever made. But something inside of me, you know, the Dragon Quest fan in me, really wanted to own the original version of it, so I decided to hunker down and pick it up. And I'm glad I did because 3DS version looks nice. It's in 3D, but this is the sprite-based work that they've done on the Super Nintendo, and it graduated into the PS1 beautifully. I absolutely love how it looks. Next up, we have a JRPG from Sony themselves. And once again, like Breath of Fire 3, I've fallen in love with this game. It is The Legend of Dragoon. Oh man, I was not expecting this to be as good as it is. And trust me when I say, The Legend of Dragoon is a game that I feel a lot of people slept on. A lot of people were focused on the JRPGs from Squaresoft back in the days, and maybe this one went under the radar. I believe it's available digitally on the PS4 and 5, so if you haven't played it and you want a cheap way to access it, check those versions out, download them digitally, I don't care. I don't regret it one bit. The music alone in this game is amazing, and then the graphics in the game, while primitive 3D, they're still very charming, and the story has its claws hooked into me, and I'm really enjoying it so far. So, if you haven't played Legend of Dragoon, I can't recommend it enough. From what I've played, this is an epic. This is like, how many discs is this game? Oh my god, it's 4 discs, and look at these discs, they're absolutely beautiful. Wonderful artwork on them. The game is complete, it's in mint condition, the manual looks pretty damn good. What a beautiful game. Just in the aesthetics of the physical edition alone. Now just play it, and trust me, you won't regret it. Now is probably not a good time to pick these up, considering that there's a new Digimon story game coming out next month, but I picked up Digimon World recently when I went to the video game store with Vinny, Super Mario Zilla. Once again, that video is popping up on the top right hand corner of your screen. It was the last video I made, and I picked up the original Digimon World in that video. I never got around to playing Digimon World 2 or Digimon World 3. So now I have both of these in my collection. I know they're different games compared to the original. The original was more like a V-Pit simulator, basically taking the little brick Digimon, converting that into a game, and I absolutely love it. It's rough around the edges, and it definitely hasn't aged well in terms of like graphics. I got a nice retro setup now. I got a small CRT television once again from my job. Like I was talking in the last video, I wanted a curved screen CRT and now I finally have one. It's looking beautiful. I'm really happy with how my retro setup is looking, and I prefer to play these games on that little CRT. There's just something about these games that just look amazing. Actually, all PlayStation 1 games look amazing on a CRT. I love Vidramon, and the fact that he's on the cover of this one, oh, amazing. And then you have the 3 team of Kumamon, Gilamon, and Agumon on Digimon World 3. This is another minty copy that I got off eBay, and I got it at a decent price. Sure, I paid a little more than I probably would have liked, but I mean, these Digimon games hold their value, trust me. Next up, we have another one of those heavy hitters. I made a YouTube short about this one. Brave Fencer Musashi. Heard a lot of great things about this one. Once again, another Squaresoft game, and this one comes complete with the Collector's CD Volume 2, which has the demo for Final Fantasy VIII in it. And of course, the manual is complete, even has the registration card. This one I got a pretty decent deal of on eBay. It was less than price charting value for a complete in-box copy, and I'm really enjoying what I've played so far. It's a little clunky, but I definitely got to play some more of it. I do love the graphical style and the aesthetic of it. It's very charming, very cute. Down to the last 2 here. Another heavy hitter from Manny's Cool Finds. Wow, this one was minty, and it comes with an asterisk too, because I never got around to playing this series growing up. I have them digitally on the PS3, but I had like no desire to play a digital game over a physical one, so I wanted to get these physically. Parasite Eve. Never got around to playing the original Parasite Eve or Parasite Eve 2. Finally have it complete in its box. It's got the registration card and everything, and I got it in a bundle deal with the strategy guide. Very hard to come by a strategy guide that looks this fresh and minty, but hell, I did it. I couldn't resist. I saw it there and I was like, you know what? Let me get that strategy guide with that game, because I'm probably going to need some help getting through this one. I heard it's a turn-based survival horror style RPG, and I'm really enjoying what I've played of it so far. It takes place in New York City, which is awesome because that was my home for the longest time. There's like a level in the Central Park Zoo, which I used to frequent all the time with my sister and my mother growing up as a kid, and it's pretty awesome. The soundtrack in this game is absolutely phenomenal as well. So yeah, Parasite Eve on the PlayStation 1. And last but not least, this one was the heaviest, I think, of all of these, and it is Xenogears. Another Squaresoft classic. Comes complete with its manual, as well as the registration card and extra CD. I never got around to playing this one, and now I finally have it in my collection. I got around to playing a little bit of the intro, and I gotta say, I love the graphical style of this game. Just like the 3D environments mixed in with like the 2D sprites for the characters. I heard this is an epic and kind of like the grandfather to the Xenosaga and Xenoblade games. So I'm really looking forward to checking this one out at some point. However, I've got a ton to get through right now. I'm eating good for a PlayStation 1 fan, and I'm looking forward to doing that. Needless to say, I'm really enjoying collecting for the PlayStation 1. A lot of its library was a blind spot for me growing up, so I'm happy to finally rectify those mistakes in today's video. So anyways, if you've played any of these games before, let me know in the comment section down below. Once again, I wish you all a good game and good night. Thank you for tuning in and taking the time off your busy schedule to watch me show off some of my collection. And I'll see you all in the next video.